Sickle cell disease is an inherited condition which affects 1 in every 1,000 Barbadians. Others carry the trait even though they never suffer symptoms.
It's a genetic condition, so you get it from your mom and your dad. You have to have 2 genes in order to say you have sickle cell disease. So you get 1 gene from your mom and 1 gene from your dad. And when you get both of those genes, then you have sickle cell disease. Some people may only get 1 gene from their mom or dad, and then they get a normal gene. These persons are carriers. But if you get both of them, then they say you have the disease.
Dr. Kim Quimby is leading the sickle cell disease study at the Chronic Disease Research Center. She says the crux of the problem lies in the genes.
Now, the mutation in the gene encodes for hemoglobin, which is a protein which carries oxygen. It's usually packaged in a red blood cell. Now, when you have a normal hemoglobin, the red blood cell is usually a biconcave disc, so it's circular, and that's good. Now, when you have sickle cell disease, when you get some stressors like you can't dehydrated or you exercise too much, some people it's cold, then this red blood cell takes on a sickled shape, and that's why it's called sickle cell disease, because the red blood cell is no longer circular, it's now kind of a moon-shaped. Now, when it becomes moon-shaped, that's where the consequences start. These cells can now break apart in circulation. So when they're going through the tiny vessels, they might get stuck because they can't get through the vessels like the normal ones. And when they become stuck, then the person's complain of pain. That's why they get joint pains all the time. Or these red blood cells might just break up, and therefore the hemoglobin that's supposed to be inside the red blood cell is now outside the red blood cell, where it's not supposed to be.
The clinical features are multisystemic, meaning that just about any system in the body can be impacted by the disease.
So they might get stroke because the cells are just sickling in the cerebral circulation. They get ulcers on the legs, so they just have the skin on their leg will just break down, and it takes a really long time to heal. And even when it does heal, it just breaks down again. They may also get stones in the gallbladder. They can get renal disease.
But by far, the most common complaint of sickle cell disease sufferers is joint pain.
That is what brings the person to the hospital. That's what they need to go to their private physician. That's what they take medications for. And it's really severe pain, and they get it more than once. So they may get several episodes per year. That's by far the most prevalent clinical feature.
The CDRC study is only the second body of research done on this condition in Barbados.
Apart from that study done in 1999, there's been no other work done on sickle cell disease in Barbados. So we know that 1 in 1,000 persons we expect that will have sickle cell disease. But there's been no studies done on the prevalence of the symptoms. So we know anecdotally what they will suffer from, but we don't know how many have painful crises, how many will have ulcers, how many have kidney problems. We don't know anything concretely from research about sickle cell disease and the prevalence of the symptoms within our population. Because, as we said, sickle cell disease is one genetic mutation. Everybody has the same mutation, but yet some persons with sickle cell disease do really well and some do really poorly. Some people get no painful crises, others are always in the hospital, some get strokes, and we don't really understand the difference, the reason why there's that difference, because as I said, it's one mutation, so we would expect that everybody would be the same, but they're not.
The study will provide the knowledge base necessary to understand the full impact of the disease in Barbados.
And then maybe we can structure programs or structure any interventions to suit. But first we need a knowledge base. Secondly, there's the laboratory side of the study. So it's not just an epidemiological study, it's also lab-based. We're looking at molecular mechanisms. And maybe if we can get these molecular mechanisms worked out, if we can understand why this genetic mutation leads to these clinical features, maybe we can be able to intervene in those molecular mechanisms to either predict those persons who will do poorly or be able to intervene in some way to help them to do better.
A challenge has been tracking down Barbadians who suffer with sickle cell disease. If you are one of these persons and would be interested in participating in the study, please contact Dr. Quimby at the CDRC, Gemmett's Lane, telephone number 426-6416.